Hello, my name is Dr. Bandana Chawla, and I'm a board certified physician in internal medicine and lifestyle medicine.
Hi, my name is Munish Chawla, and I'm board certified in diagnostic radiology and also in lifestyle medicine.
And we're both very passionate about this new field of lifestyle medicine. And today we'd like to tell you about lifestyle medicine.
So we made this presentation that we're going to share with you. And without further ado, let's get started.
Lifestyle medicine, prescription for better health. Okay, so what is lifestyle medicine? It's a new medical specialty which uses evidence-based lifestyle therapeutic approaches to not just prevent and treat and manage, but also reverse chronic diseases. American College of Lifestyle Medicine came into being in 2004 after CDC reported numbers that showed that 80% of chronic diseases in the Western world are due to our lifestyle. So hence it makes sense to address diet and lifestyle as a way to prevent, manage, and reverse these diseases. American Board of Lifestyle Medicine was organized in 2016, and my husband and I both got board certified in October of 2018. So lifestyle medicine is an evidence-based field that actually addresses the root cause of disease. It focuses on educating and empowering the patient. It uses lifestyle as the therapeutic approach. This is the way I look at lifestyle medicine. I've been practicing internal medicine for 20 years and only offering pills and procedures. And I now realize that what I was doing was diligently mopping the floor with patients and teaching them how to mop the floor. For instance, with diabetes, I would teach them about carb control, about taking their medications regularly, about checking their blood sugars regularly, and getting their hemoglobin A1C checked every 3 months. But despite all of that, we would add on, increase the dose of medicines, add on new medications, and then add on insulin. And then when once a day insulin's not enough, add on mealtime insulin. And hence, I would watch the progression of these diseases despite medical management. But now with lifestyle medicine, I can show them how they themselves can go turn off the faucet by making changes in their diet and lifestyle that will address the root cause of their disease. So let's look at the therapeutic approach that lifestyle medicine uses. These are the 6 pillars that we focus on: nutrition, exercise, stress management, avoidance of tobacco and alcohol, and limiting alcohol, importance of sleep, and healthy relationships. And we will go over all 6 today. Let's start with nutrition now. Because it's an evidence-based field, lifestyle medicine recommends a predominantly whole food plant-based diet. That means we need to limit animal foods and also limit processed foods. We encourage people to get 90 to 95% of their calories from whole plant foods, the way they come from nature, the way they come from ground. So why eat a whole food plant-based diet? Well, there is a big list, but we will only go over this list today. 1, it provides us with all the macronutrients we need. It gives us the vitamins and minerals we need, the phytonutrients that are only present in plant foods. It gives us the antioxidants, boosts our immunity, and also improves our epigenetics and our microbiome. So we've all learned about needing fat, carbs, and protein in our diet. And a plant-based diet will provide us the right amount of fat, carbs, and protein in our diet. Not only will it provide us the right amount, it will also provide us with superior forms of these macronutrients. Fat, in plant foods, the kind of fats that we get are not high in the saturated fats that are harmful to us, but the plant foods are high in unsaturated fats that are healthy for us. Carbohydrates. When you eat plant foods the way they come in nature, they're packaged with fiber and phytonutrients. And these carbohydrates are good for us, unlike the processed man-made carbohydrates that are lacking in fiber and are absorbed too quickly and increase our sugar and our insulin levels. Protein. Plant protein is alkaline and hence slows cellular aging, unlike animal protein, which increases our inflammation and speeds up cellular aging. As you start transitioning towards a plant-based diet, one of the first questions you'll get asked is, where do you get your protein? So we made this slide to help you with that point. This comes from data from USDA, and we are looking at comparing 100 grams of beans to 100 grams of beef here. So the calories are about the same, but as you can see, fat, saturated fat, and cholesterol is way higher in beef and very low in beans, and actually saturated fats and cholesterol is not present at all in beans. Fiber, though, is plentiful in beans and not present in beef or any other animal product. Iron is another one that people feel like they need to eat meat for. However, there is plenty of iron in beans and also dark leafy greens. Protein here is pretty equivalent between 100 grams of beans and 100 grams of beef. Vitamins and minerals are present in both plant foods and animal foods, but there are certain vitamins like vitamin C and folate that are only present in plant foods, and vitamin E and K are much easier to obtain from plant foods as well. Vitamin B12, which is made by bacteria in the soil, is now hard to get in plant foods because the soil is low in these bacteria and also because we really wash off our plant foods. So B12 is something we do recommend that you supplement with as you move towards a plant-based diet. Iron, as we saw in the previous slide, is plentiful in plant foods as well. And calcium is another one that you will get asked about in terms of where do you get your calcium. So let's look at this next slide, which is comparing 8 ounces of milk to 8 ounces of tofu. The calorie content is actually higher in tofu. Fat content, though, is much lower. Saturated fat, again, not present. Cholesterol, not present, though they're high in milk. Calcium content, about the same in 8 ounces of tofu versus 8 ounces of milk. And the protein content, again, about similar. Sugar, not present in tofu, but pretty high in milk, the lactose sugar. The next thing I'd like to talk about is phytonutrients. Though vitamins and minerals were found we've discovered them in 1950s and 60s, phytonutrients were not discovered till 1980s. Since then, we have found more than 25,000 phytonutrients and realized how important they are for our health. They keep our immune system healthy. They reduce our risk for chronic diseases. They lower our risk for cancer. They improve our bone health, and they're crucial for brain and eye health. So you really want to try to eat a rainbow of colors as you're adding more plant foods to your diet. The next thing I want to talk about is how plant foods are very high in antioxidants and why eating antioxidants is so crucial for our health. So a little bit of basic science. We are forming free radicals, and we are exposed to free radicals all the time in this post-industrial era. So whether it's due to pollution or lack of sleep or poor diet or many other reasons that free radicals are formed in our body. When we have too many free radicals, they attack our cells, and that causes our cells to go through oxidative stress, which leads to aging, cancer, diseases, all sorts of adverse effects in our body. However, antioxidants can keep those free radicals in balance. And this is how it does that. Free radicals need paired electrons to be stable. Otherwise, they try to steal electrons from healthy atoms to stabilize themselves. However, antioxidants have plenty of electrons and they don't need to be in pairs. So antioxidants are happy to come up to free radicals and offer their electrons. And this stabilizes the free radicals and stops that cascade of oxidative stress that our body goes through if antioxidants are not around. So it's really important to eat our antioxidants, which we can get from plant foods. We're giving this presentation in March of 2020. And one of the big things on everyone's mind right now is coronavirus. And how do we protect ourselves and how do we boost our immunity? Well, it turns out one of the best things that we can do for ourselves is practice lifestyle medicine. As my husband will talk about the importance of sleep and other things, I want to bring up the point of how plant foods can really help boost our immune system. Here are some of the foods, but this by no means is the whole list. All plant foods help boost our immune system, and especially things like kiwi fruits and citrus fruits and herbs and spices and garlic and onion and ginger. So eating a lot of these foods really helps boost our immune system. So when we come across viruses or bacteria, we are able to really increase our natural killer cells and get rid of them before they can grow and reproduce and cause disease in our body. And while I was looking up immunity and plant-based foods, I came across this slide from MD Anderson's website. And MD Anderson specifically said that eating plant foods improves your immunity, and that immunity is not just helpful in fighting colds and coughs, it's also important in fighting cancer. So when we form mutations in our cells, a strong immune system can get rid of those before they can turn into cancer and grow. So really important to improve our immunity for many reasons, for development of cancer down the road and for prevention of viruses and bacteria right now. And now I'd like to turn it over to my husband to go over the rest of the slides with you.
Hi. So I'm going to talk about epigenetics and microbiome. So what is epigenetics? So these are actually switches or non-DNA sequences in our chromosomes which turn on and off the genes. So genes are something you inherit from your parents, but you also inherit the switching sequence. So if they led a healthy life, then you kind of start off at a good place. But even if you were not dealt a good genetic hand, you can use diet and lifestyle to turn on the health promoting genes and turn off the genes that degrade our health. And what we've learned that you can think of genes as sort of seeds, and the water and fertilizer is your diet, how much exercise you get, how much stress you have in your life, sleep, and other ways that you can positively make yourself into a healthy lifestyle. So science shows that if you practice good diet and lifestyle, you can turn on the health promoting genes. The other thing I would like to cover that why plant foods are so good for us is because they improve our microbiome. As a background, all the bacteria that reside in our body, most of them are actually located in the GI tract. And we are now learning that we have more bacteria on our body than human cells. So about 70 to 80% of all the bacteria are in our colon, and they do marvelous things for us. And the point I want to make is, we have this germ phobia that bacteria are bad for us, but actually we're learning that most of the bacteria that we come across are actually beneficial to our health. They produce wonderful compounds called short-chain fatty acids, which keep our gut lining healthy. They reduce our risk for cancer. They even regulate our metabolism, like our glucose and cholesterol. And the food that these bacteria like to eat is fiber. And just as a reminder, there's no fiber in any animal foods and very little fiber in processed plant foods. Hence the reason that we want to get our foods or most of our calories from whole plant foods. So what happens when the bacteria in our gut are not happy? The scientific term for this is called gastrointestinal dysbiosis. This means that the beneficial bacteria in our gut, their overall number is decreased. And it also means that the variety of bacteria in our gut has decreased. When this happens, it leads us at increased risk for autoimmune disorders such as multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and just causes greater inflammation in our body. Other things it can do when we're in dysbiosis, it leads us to increased risk for inflammatory bowel disease, even obesity and colon cancer. And this is something I learned recently, that in order to have a good mental health, you need to eat the right foods because your bacteria produce a lot of the compounds. For example, serotonin, sort of the feel-good hormone, is 90% of it is produced in our colon by our bacteria. So our brain just produces 10%. And they need the raw material and fiber to make this compound. And studies are showing that folks who are in dysbiosis, they're at greater risk for depression, anxiety, and other behavioral disorders. So another reason why plant foods are so healthy for us. So we covered in the last 15 minutes or so a lot of the reasons why plant-based nutrition is so good for us. But as my wife mentioned, there are 6 pillars to lifestyle medicine, and all are important. So exercise is another thing that's just crucial for good human health, not just physical health, but also emotional health. I think everyone knows that, if you exercise, you're physically fit, but you may not know that it can actually lower stress hormones, and it can turn on health-promoting genes and turn off genes that degrade our health, improve our epigenetics. And the same thing with microbiome. When you're out in nature, outside, getting exercise, this improves the diversity of the bacteria in our gut. And another thing that I found really fascinating is we all have learned that you need insulin to get glucose from the bloodstream into your cells. Well, exercise is a way you can get glucose into the cells that need it, especially muscle cells, without insulin. So it's another unique way that's really helpful for diabetics and folks who have insulin resistance, that exercise is really beneficial. The next thing I'm going to talk about is stress management. So this is something that's been shown. They've done studies on this, that if you practice mindfulness meditation, and this by no means is the only way to reduce your stress, you can actually lower your stress hormones. That after 2 weeks of mindfulness training, they were actually able to show that this turns on the health promoting genes and turns off genes that degrade our health. So this gives us exercise and stress management, not only give us better physical health, but better emotional health also. The other thing that's really important for a healthy person is sleep. Again, it's been shown that those who get adequate and good quality sleep, that they have lower stress hormones. And this is sort of strange that getting a good night's sleep improves your microbiome. And this is just fascinating. So just as human beings have a circadian rhythm, we're more active when it's light, and when it gets dark, we're less active and, ready to go to sleep. Our bacteria in our gut also have a circadian rhythm. So if you get a good night's sleep, they can get a good night's sleep. And if they get a good night's sleep, they're healthy, and in turn, they can keep you healthy. And sleep is where we repair our damage, whether it's physical damage or emotional damage. This is where we process things at night, eliminate waste products, both physically and mentally. And everyone who's taken a test knows that, cognitive processing, you'll do much better at a test after having gotten a good night's sleep. So sleep is crucial for good physical and mental health. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on eliminating tobacco and limiting alcohol. I think media and news outlets and the medical community in general has done a good job of letting us know that, eliminating tobacco and really cutting back, way back on the alcohol reduces our risk for cancer, heart disease, and other chronic diseases. The last pillar of lifestyle medicine, and by no means least, is community, finding the right tribe. So we've always known that if you're around other healthy people, that you're gonna, practice those same behaviors, but there's actual studies that have shown this. So one study that comes to mind is one that was published in the New England Journal of Medicine a couple of years ago. They followed groups for like over 35 years. And what they saw is that if your best friend becomes obese, you have a 57% chance of becoming obese. If a close family member becomes obese, you have about a 42% chance. And if your neighbor becomes obese, you almost have no correlation. So it really underlines that people who we spend time with, we copy their health behaviors. And I'm going to skip the blue zones for now. We'll pick this up later in the talk. So these are the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine that we've talked about. And this is great from a basic clinical science perspective, but I want to move on to research. And we're not going to cover, lots of studies, but I do want to highlight this one study done by Dean Ornish. And this was done in 1998. So we've known this data for a long time. This was the first randomized clinical trial which showed that you can actually reduce the plaque, actually regress or reverse coronary artery disease. That's the plaque in our arteries that supply the heart. So this was the intervention. They were giving a plant-based diet predominantly. They were given an exercise regimen. They were given tools for stress management. They had yoga classes, meditation classes. Folks in the study, some who were smoking, were given smoking cessation help, and they all received group support. And that was the intervention. There were 2 other groups that were in this study. The first group got the usual medical care, but they didn't receive any cholesterol medications. The second, or I should say the third group, got the usual medical care, but they did receive cholesterol lowering medications. So this is what the data showed, that at 1 year, those who did not got the usual medical care, but did not get the cholesterol medications, their disease progressed by 37%. Those who got the usual medical care, but got the cholesterol lowering medications, their disease progressed by 23%. Their disease was still progressing, just at a lower rate. Those who received this intervention of a plant-based diet, exercise, stress management, smoking cessation, and getting group support, their disease actually decreased by 8.5%. And the results were even better at 5 years than at 1 year. So their coronary artery disease, their heart disease, the disease that gives you heart attacks and can cause death, actually decreased more at 5 years than 1 year. And so, we can do many studies and kind of show the same thing, but in the interest of time, I'm just going to summarize the research by using these dietary and health organizations. So the World Health Organization, American Institute of Cancer Research, American Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, which is the largest dietitian body in the entire world, and the American College of Cardiology. These folks are responsible for keeping up with the literature and then make recommendations what is healthful for the general public. And all of these societies, all of these organizations pretty much say the same thing. They all say that we need to increase our fruits and vegetables, increase whole plant foods. They all say we need to reduce saturated fats, which essentially means we need to reduce our animal products. Over 90% of the saturated fats in the American diet is from animal products. They also recommend that we reduce added sugar and salt, and nearly all of the added sugar and salt in our diet is from processed foods, again, pointing to whole plant foods. They all recommend that we increase our physical activity and maintain a healthy body weight. So I just want to stress that this, concept of eating more vegetables, moving, stress management, all these things are recommended by mainstream organizations. There's no argument on what works to make us healthy, both physically and mentally. So now that we know the data, how can we bring this practice into our life? How can we make ourselves healthy, our family members and friends and community healthy? We can learn from folks around the globe. And this is where I would like to talk about the blue zones. So blue zones are places in the world where people live exceptionally long and healthy lives. They're not just living longer, they're healthier. And these blue zones are in Loma Linda, California, Nicoya Peninsula in Costa Rica, Sardinia, Italy, Ikaria, Greece, and Okinawa, Japan. And what we know from these folks is they all move naturally. They're fit, they move around. They don't have gym memberships, but movement is part of their life. They all have the right outlook. They know how to downshift. They know how to get out of the rat race and reduce their stress. And they all have a healthy community. They have joined, or they haven't joined, they're part of this tribe where everyone moves, everyone manages their stress well, and everyone eats wisely. And they don't know the words vegan or vegetarian, but as it turns out, 15 to 16 of their meals every week, 18 to 19 meals of their 21 meals in the week happen to be plant-based. And so they just eat whole plant foods, very little animal foods, and almost no processed foods. And by doing this, I'm going to give an example of our own blue zone, Loma Linda, California. So Loma Linda is about an hour away from downtown LA. And yet the elderly in Loma Linda, California, or adult males live on average 10 years longer. Not just that, they live much healthier. They're not in wheelchairs or using canes. They're vibrant. They're mowing their lawns, going bicycling at 85, 95. So they're healthy and vibrant. And it's because they do all of these things. They don't know about lifestyle medicine, but in essence, they're practicing lifestyle medicine. The other point I would like to make is that they don't have, more willpower, they don't have better genes. It's just that everything in their society is set up in such a way that the healthy choice is the easy choice. And as things stand right now, the healthy choice is not the easy choice for most of us. And this is the reason my wife and I have opened this lifestyle clinic. So in our clinic, my wife is board certified in internal medicine and lifestyle medicine. So in our lifestyle clinic, we show people how to eat right, be fit, stress less, and connect more. Essentially putting the pillars of lifestyle medicine into practice. And we do this by educating our patients, supporting them, and creating a community of good health. So how do we get people to eat in a healthier pattern. So we want folks to, as we mentioned, eat more plants. So we offer cooking classes where they can learn new way of cooking different recipes that they may not have previously been exposed to. So we have cooking classes from Food for Life instructors. We have recipes on our websites and lots of other support around food. We also offer stress management and mindfulness practices such as yoga and meditation in the clinic. We have yoga and meditation twice a month. Other group activities that we offer to engage the community are potlucks once a month, and we do walk with the dog once a month. So our attempt is to create sort of a mini blue zone or a ecosystem where folks can move to a healthier diet and lifestyle. So I'm going to quickly share, one patient with you. So, the question always is, I know we've got research on this, there's articles on this, and we see people living longer around the world, but does it really work when you bring the pillars of lifestyle medicine into practice? So this is a patient who came to us in October of 2019. He had blood sugars of 400 to 500, and he was on 30 units of insulin at this time. So all we did was got him on a healthy, whole food, plant-based diet, really told him and encouraged him and asked him to exercise regularly and find some ways to manage his stress. So in these 4 months, his hemoglobin went from 11.8, which is severe diabetes, showing sugars of 400 to 500, to normal, to 5.5. He no longer has diabetes. His cholesterol plummeted from 292 to 143, his triglycerides improved, and his weight went from 305 to 251. So at this time, this is Jacob in August, when he was 330 pounds, and in February, on the right, he is 251 pounds, and as I mentioned, he no longer has diabetes. And really, all it took to accomplish this was he ate the right foods, he became physically fit, he stressed less, and he connected more. And this is the message of our clinic lifestyle docs. This is the message of American College of Lifestyle Medicine, and this is really the message of all the societies that look out for our health.
So we'll take off the share now.
And we just want to wish you good health.
Thank you for joining us and learning about lifestyle medicine. I also want to add on that our clinic is now offering online programs. So even if you're not in the Houston area, you're welcome to reach out to us if we can help in any way. Or if you have any questions, we are on Facebook and Instagram, and our website is lifestyledocs.com. You can also click on contact us and get in touch with us that way. We wish you a very healthy journey as you move towards plant-based diet and lifestyle medicine. Be well.
Thank you for joining us. Be well.